So, the Islamic State claims radioactive devices now in Europe. This is from Washington Free Beacon. Um, alleged weapons maker for the Islamic State claimed that a radioactive device has been smuggled into an undisclosed location in Europe, according to an intelligence brief released Monday by the Site Intelligence Group. Oh, it's Site Intelligence Group again. If you don't know about them, maybe watch my previous video and from the December 6th and the video before that I made on December 4th on this subject, and Luke Summers, and how it's likely fake because Site Intelligence Group has faked things before, from bin Laden videos to the ISIS beheadings, and including this CGI mass beheading and this Kasich guy a couple of weeks ago. So it's to be expected at very least, and assumed that they're probably faking this, and it should be investigated. So it goes on. A radioactive device has entered somewhere in Europe, according to Twitter user Muslim al-Britani, who claims to be a freelance jihadist weapons maker now working alongside IS, also known as ISIL or ISIS, according to tweets captured and disseminated by Site. Site, the bullshit artists. So now, if this guy is for real, or even real, period, would that not be a stupid thing to admit this? That's basically like a warning. If you wanted to do something with this radioactive device, would you want to tell anybody? Would you want to broadcast that over the internet? I would think not. I would think that would be a very stupid thing to do because it could be foiled. But no, he puts it on Twitter. Bullshit. Anyway, this claim comes just days after the reports that ISIS could have in its possession a dirty bomb, the elements of which were obtained via earlier IS raids on a university facility in Mosul that contained uranium. Al-Britani is also responsible for the flurry of reports on the dirty bomb. Okay, Mosul is in northern Iraq, which allegedly ISIS has control of, but ISIS is controlled by the CIA, MI5, and Israeli Mossad, also known as ISIS in official documents. What is it? Israeli Secret Intelligence Service? What a coincidence. And when you know that the Site Intelligence Group is controlled by Rita Katz, whose father was a Mossad agent, and who is connected to the Mossad and American intelligence agencies, well, I think we got some bullshit here. Al-Britani, who is disseminated on his Twitter feed weapons instructions and manuals, claimed on November 23rd that the Islamic State does have a dirty bomb. We found some radioactive material from Mosul University. I don't understand why Mosul University has radioactive material. I mean, I thought the United States didn't want anybody but Israel in itself to have nukes, but I guess they're giving it to Iraq again or something. I mean, it's not necessarily fully refined uranium. Sure. You know, part of the thing about the dirty bomb is it's uranium is still radioactive material. It's used in making nuclear bombs. But nonetheless, it takes quite a bit of expertise to create such a thing. You know, a bunch of supposedly homegrown terrorists just finding uranium doesn't mean they can make a dirty bomb with it. Back in September, the U.S. and Iraqi officials allegedly inked a pact in September to step up efforts to combat this type of smuggling, which the United States deemed a critical threat. They're just trying to pump fear into you, just like they're trying to pump fear into Europe, okay? They control these groups. They control them in part to take down al-Bashar Assad in Syria, because they don't like him because he wants to be independent from this whole New World Order thing. In fact, he tried to offer them to help take out ISIL. Sorry, I'm not going to provide a link for this right now. I don't really have the time, but he offered to try to help them, even despite them trying to mess with his country over the last couple of years. even faking and lying about him with the chemical attacks and Syrian Youth English a couple of years ago. Broke this fake bombing thingy, which was actually created by CNN and on Anderson Cooper's show, because they had the feed running over the airwaves. It just wasn't actually airing on your television, and you can intercept those things. If you don't know that, well, I recommend watching the documentary called Spin, which was done in the 1990s on this. Anyway, this is the kind of thing where if ISIL got his hands on enough radioactive sources or radioactive sources, redundant, radioactive sources or radioactive sources of a sufficient radioactivity level, and they decided to turn it into a bomb and blow it up in a market, that would be a very unpleasant thing. Why would they want to blow it up in a market? If they had a dirty bomb and they really wanted to have an effect, wouldn't it be a good idea to go after maybe the Pentagon or parliaments in Europe, the Congress, the President of the United States, prime ministers in Europe? That would seem a better strategy if you could pull it off, you know. But no, they never do that. And if you think that they tried that before with the Pentagon or that freaking plane that crashed in Pennsylvania on 9/11, sorry, no. The Pentagon was likely a missile shot, and, well, you can't even see that in the alleged video footage of the explosion, so it very well might have been a bomb inside of the building that was just set off. So I'm sorry, no. That wasn't a friggin' plane. There is no evidence whatsoever that it was a plane. In fact, all evidence contradicts that assertion. But if you don't know that, I suggest you look into that, and you will be shocked, or you are living in delusion. So we got, perhaps it's also, former Pentagon advisor Michael Rubin says, perhaps it's also time to recognize that open borders and successful counterterrorism are mutually exclusive, which actually, if the terrorist threat was real, I think would be true. It's a lesson that might fly in the face of Obama's ideology, but reality will always trump political spin. But what's going on right now? Obama's just opening it up for the next, basically setting the story for the opening up of the next so-called terrorist attack, okay? The next 9/11. Working in concert with the Republicans, I'm sorry, but I guarantee you it's going to be another Republican president. It may be Jeb Bush, it may be even Rand Paul, and even if it's Rand Paul, I personally think that there will be a terrorist attack, and the war on terror will be amped up Bush style once again, okay? Though if they could get Rand Paul in there, he's much slicker with his words than probably any other politician out there, so I don't trust him at this point, unless maybe he's trying to play it slick to get into that leadership role, and then he's going to turn it around on all of them and probably get himself killed in the process. But I have doubts about that at this point. Anyway, if I didn't mention it, maybe watch my previous video on December 6th and the video before that on December 4th about Luke Summers. And you'll learn a little bit more about this and maybe research things on your own, because I always recommend that. Verify for yourself, because it's good to learn about these things and know how you're being conned. You're being conned by the media. Now, alongside this, we got U.S. prepares for security risks from torture report on Yahoo News, and the Senate Intelligence report on torture came out, and confirms that torture was done in Guantanamo and other places. And so let's go through this. American embassies, military units, and other U.S. interests are preparing for possible security threats related to the release of a report on the CIA's harsh interrogation techniques at secret overseas facilities after the 9/11 terror attacks. This doesn't seem to make sense to me, because they're making public that they actually tortured, And it almost seems as if this is, like, we're sorry, so we're, putting it out there or something. So I don't see why that would piss them off. I'd think that would be like, okay, maybe they're trying to change course or something. Oh my God, stupid ad. Sorry about the tampon ad. I know you need them, though. The report from the Senate Intelligence Committee will be the first public accounting of the CIA's use of what critics call torture on al-Qaeda detainees held at black sites in Europe and Asia. The committee on Tuesday was expected to release a 480-page executive summary of the 6,000-plus page report compiled by Democrats on the panel. Those anti-war Democrats, by the way. But yet, there are some indications that the release of this report could lead to a greater risk that is posed to U.S. facilities and individuals all around the world. Yeah, maybe sure they'll be pissed, but it's not like they already didn't know that there was torture going on there. By God, all the pictures released. It was friggin' aberrant. I couldn't friggin'... No, wait, no, it's the U.S. government. I could believe that they'd do that. I mean, if you know about the frickin'... all the experiments done over the years, my God. U.S. officials who have read the report. Nobody's read the report. John Conyers... You need, 3 days and 3 lawyers to read a bill? This thing's 6,000 pages. How many of them actually read it? People contributed to it, I'm sure, but I guarantee they didn't read the whole thing. Now, it also asserts that the CIA lied about the covert program to officials at the White House. Oh, yeah? Well, then why was Karl Rove and Dick Cheney saying waterboarding isn't torture? If they're saying that, they clearly know they were waterboarding. Duh. So this is clearly a flat-out lie. Ministry of Truth. So everybody knew they tortured him. I mean, photos were released for Christ's sake. It was obvious. So this guy said that regardless of whether U.S. gleaned important intelligence through the interrogations, the president believes that the use of those tactics was unwarranted, that they were inconsistent with our values and did not make us safer. It's not just that they were unwarranted. People will admit to friggin' anything when you do that, when you torture them, okay? Just to stop the torture. Especially when you put it in their head of what you want to know, Tell us that you're a terrorist. Okay, I'm a terrorist, leave me alone. Come on. And numerous of these people yelled out in court in their trials that they were tortured into admitting these things. And this does not fit with the United States military's policy on torture, or on interrogation, that is. You don't torture them because they will lie. It's that simple. One last thing is there's Site Intelligence Group in their jihadist news. Oh, wait, log in to read more. I can't read the whole thing. The other day I didn't have that problem. I don't know, maybe it's like New York Times or whatever, where you only have so many that you can read. But it just gives me one sentence. An alleged IS weapons maker, following past claims of IS obtaining radioactive material from Mosul University, claimed on Twitter that a radioactive device is entered in a specified location in Europe. Either way, full of shit. Ooh, this looks interesting. It's probably bullshit too, because it's Site. What do you know? But I bet I can't read it anyways. Let's find out. Holy crap, I actually get this whole article. I might have to make a video on this garbage. Yeah. Until then, I need tacos and burritos to live.